Welcome to RTD Live Talk. Sorry about that. Working out the kinks in this new delivery style in reference to trying to get the news out to you guys as it's occurring or as it's being reported from the mainstream sources around the world. So welcome to RTD Live Talk. And so as I just wrap up some things here, the goal is to give you some news as to what's happening. And I have a couple of stories that I think you guys will find very interesting, dealing with a variety of subject matter all over the world. And so one of the most notable stories I'm going to share with you is in reference to something that recently came out via video. I guess Eric Snowden, former or current U.S. citizen that's over in Russia, I believe, under seeking asylum there. But yet he shared some information in reference to how the whole Turkey situation went down with that journalist and how things came about, and some things that should be of importance to you, because apparently there's some software out there that he gives an idea as to how basically it seems like, and I would imagine that every one of our cell phones is bugged in a way that our entire history and everything in reference to what we do on our cell phones is being watched outside of what we already know. So it's interesting to find out what's going on there. So as always, feel free to chime in the chat. I won't be answering any questions or taking any calls, but I want to give you guys a chance to interact with one another, whatnot, during this short live stream. So let's jump right into the news. And so here I have, just want to give you guys a heads up. Last night I had a privilege of having an interview on Reluctant Preppers with Dunnigan Kaiser. So we talked about some of the 4 money lessons in reference to an ebook I did a while back, but I hit on a very important one, which I think you guys should take a listen to. And it's referring to the whole idea of value and how the nominal value, as far as when you look at your savings account, anything on your screen or your phone, how those numbers are deceptive in a way. So if you guys are interested, visit Reluctant Preppers YouTube channel. You guys can listen to that. And so I want to actually get right into the first article here, or not article, but actually a link that's below this video here that will point you towards this video, which is 2.5 minutes, but yet I think it's very informative, because what it will do is give you an idea as to how Eric Snowden is pointing the blame at an Israeli company that's created some software that it works basically where they'll send you a text message or they'll send you some form of communication, and typically people not even suspecting anything wrong with it would click on it. And he says that as soon as you click on it, you're basically infiltrated, and they have access to everything you've done on the history of that device. And so it's a short video here, but the link is below. I would encourage you to take a listen to it, because it made me think about kind of the need to switch up cell phone devices, I guess, a little more frequently than I normally would, given the fact that, you know, I personally, I'm sure you might as well, receive a lot of suspicious text messages from numbers that you recognize or not, and especially emails. And, you know, if you open it up and it's an empty email message or empty text, it makes you wonder, like, why would somebody take the time and energy to send you something blank? And so it could be in line with what he's talking about here from this Israeli cyberspace company or whatnot. So definitely take a listen to that. I think you guys will be informed there. And so the next article is from Zero Hedge, and it's in reference to a story that I shared, I think it was yesterday or a couple days ago, about how Venezuela was requesting to receive some of their gold back from the Bank of England. And as of today, it looks like the Bank of England refuses to release Venezuela's gold. So that would lead me to believe that if you are not in physical possession of what you think is yours, and it has counterparties in between, the risk of being able to not repatriate or receive your metals, you know, is very real. And here we have a government apparently that made a request to receive some of their gold back, and without really going deep into it, it says about some 14 tons of gold is sitting in the vaults of the Bank of England. So leads me to believe a couple things. You know, one, it's not there. 2, England is going to play along with the whole sanction aspect, and they're not going to support and honor their agreement to basically return gold to its initial owner when requested. Or is just an idea that, you know, it's something we all should learn from, is that if you don't hold it, you don't own it. So more information down below if you're interested in finding out more details about this story here. And then here's another one in reference to Venezuela. I think it's important because to avoid sanctions and to bypass, you know, exterior influences such as what's happening with us to them, Venezuela to present petro at OPEC as a digital currency for oil And so this is as of today, updated as of today rather. And so it's good to say that since Maduro is trying to really create some type of economic recovery in his country, he came up with the crypto-based coin in the sales for oil. And so it looks like he's going to be presenting, or has already presented, to the OPEC nations, petroleum exporting countries. It looks like it's going to be coming up rather. And so he's going to be trying to push the idea that they should, meaning all the heavy oil producers probably should focus on using his coin or some type of crypto-based currency, I guess, to bypass the dollar as well as all the influence of the sanctions that's happening around the world. So I'm sure there's more information there if you're interested, but I wanted to make sure I keep you guys up to date. So feel free to find out more for yourself. And then the very next article here is from South China Morning Post in regards to diplomacy. And it's talking about the idea that Argentina, we all know what's happening down there with their currency situation. Not only did they just do a $56 billion loan from the IMF, it looks like they're looking to get a couple more billions in their possession with doing what looks like a bi-currency swap with China. So it says Argentina seeks new currency swap deal with China as Beijing pursues closer ties in Latin America. So we all know that as you know, the sanctions really ramp up and the Eastern Hemisphere, Russia, China, are being painted as the villains and the bad guys. And so while we're doing all that, or while it's coming from our country, it looks like China and Russia especially are looking to expand their wings a little bit and to reach out to nations that are struggling and in need of help. And ideally, I'm assuming to probably have more of an influence in the days ahead in regards to their natural resources. So it looks like the central governors of the banks there are discussing on how to, I think I read something about an $8.7 billion deal. And in doing that, that would basically put a little bit of that yuan renminbi into the possessions of the Argentinian hands, as well as put some Argentinian pesos in the Chinese market, as if, you know, I would assume as if somebody really wants to hold a large stash of devaluating paper, but assuming that that's a way for them to do business and for Argentina to stay on their toes a little bit. So give an idea what's going on here. It says, quote, Argentina and China have signed a currency swap totaling 70 billion yuan before, and we're looking to expand it by another 60 billion yuan. So yeah, they're looking to put some money into the Argentinian economy to help for next year, especially because I'm not sure how borrowing 56 billion will help you get ahead when you can't even make your current payments on what you owe now. Nevertheless, continue to borrow on top of that. To me, that lets me know that that country is going to be in for a rude awakening come 2019. So more information below if you're interested in reading for yourself. And then the next one here is from National Post. And so I found this to be very interesting because it's in regards to Louis Farrakhan, who's currently in Iran. And so he's actually speaking with some leaders over there, and it looks like he's making a push, and he's encouraging, I guess, speaking out on reference to President Trump and how he is really, really hoping that we do not go to war with that country there. And so it says, Nation of Islam leader warns Trump not to trigger a war in the Middle East as insistence of Israel. So with that being the case, there's more information there, but he's meeting with a lot of leaders over there. So it's interesting how he's, I'm assuming, well received as hopefully not a representative of this country, but assuming the whole Islamic faith, they might embrace him as a person of influence there. And so the fact that he's over there encouraging and hoping that they can strike a deal or do something where war is avoided lets me know that, you know, that's a good thing, I think, overall. So regardless of what he stands for and what his beliefs are. So if he's over there trying to keep peace, I'll support that any day. So if you're interested in finding out more details, click below. Next one here is from Reuters, and this is interesting because it's once again in relation to Iran. It says SWIFT to disconnect messaging for some Iranian banks this weekend. So as of today, it looks like as a part of this sanction aspect, they're going to really begin cranking up removing the communication link of banks off the SWIFT system in Iran. So not sure which banks might be impacted, but put yourself in their position where you're a sovereign country wanting to, you know, do the best for your people, but yet you have an outside influence telling you what you can and can't do in reference to trade on an exterior system. So that's one of the things where when I saw this, it's just more encouragement for them to really begin looking to bypass dollar trade and dollar vehicles such as the SWIFT system. And what's notable about this article is if you scroll down to the bottom, it mentions how SWIFT is a somewhat of a separate entity, but yet because of the reserve status of the dollar, dollars flow through it. And so it mentioned here that the U.S. is quoted as saying that if the SWIFT system, which I believe headquarters is located in Belgium, if the SWIFT people behind the scene don't agree with what the U.S. is posing to do right now with these sanctions over the weekend, it says something about the U.S. will look to sanction the SWIFT members or SWIFT people in the EU. So, and that's interesting. Like, it sounds like a threat at the end of the day that if you don't do what we say, we're going to sanction you as well. So, you know, here we are. You know, this country is sanctioning everybody. That's the equivalent of a bully coming into your territory, telling you what to do. Eventually, you're going to get tired of getting bullied around and really look to do something outside of their control. So, if you guys are interested, feel free to click more for yourself. Next article here. Canadian bank set to launch uncheckable deposit box for cryptocurrency. So just want to shine a little light on the crypto sector for those that are out there interested in cryptocurrency. And so it looks like Canada, amongst other things, is looking to present an opportunity for, I guess, citizens or institutions or whatnot to get involved. And they're going to store cryptocurrencies, however they choose to do that, in their vault. So take it for what it's worth. But yet you have a country now looking to get involved in the whole crypto sector as far as storage. Makes you question some things. So more information below this video if you want to find out more for yourself. Next article here, and this is another important one in reference to the whole idea of, you know, malicious software or bugs or malware that can be implanted just innocently, but yet expose and cause a lot of damage. So this is out of ZDNet, and it says this banking malware just added a password and browser history to stealing to its playbook. And so it talks about some type of software out here that is a malware that is one of the things where once it's embedded in your system, it can steal a lot of your banking information, and it's presented as being something that's been out there for a while, and it's using through some old version of Excel, and it's presented as something harmless that any innocent bystander who's just scrolling the net on your computer, if something pops up saying you need to update or renew your subscription to Excel or Word, you take it as just being something that's helpful and presented by the creator of the software. But in actuality, it's there's some malware out there that can get into your system and cause more problems than it can help you. And it says something about, it's called a trick bot. So wanted to make you guys aware of that. So in video here as well as details for those that are interested. So feel free to find out more. Next article here is from dailymail.com. It says Italian banks consider a credit line to protect deposits, says sources. And so just to sum up this article here, is basically saying that we know that, you know, the Italy banking situation and the political climate there is pretty intense right now. So there's a lot of concerns over, you know, whether they'll be the first one to bail on the EU and whether they'll be able to pay back those loans that they're continuing receiving. And so here it talks about the idea that, you know, we have the FDIC in this country. Over there they have the FITD, which is an insurer of all deposits up to 100,000 euros. And so not create a scare, they're looking to do something different here, which is to get a line of credit extended to them to assure confidence, because it looks like the FITD, their insurer there, may not necessarily have all the funds they need, which is similar to what the FDIC is here. You know, they insure 250,000 with a balance sheet and deposit of reserves of, you know, several billion at that, but yet there's trillions in banking deposits and whatnot. So just the fact that, you know, we have a country that's under a lot of pressure, the banking sector there, and it lists some banks right here that's having problems. And so their primary insurer is looking to get a credit line extended to them, which lets me know that the whole idea, as it says here, it says to strengthen support for weaker lenders in case of market turmoil, which lets me know that they're preparing for the time where market turmoil hits. Even more so now, they'll have a credit line, and they're supposed to be an insurance company. So yeah, it is what it is. And then the very last article is from of2minds.com. Charles Hugh Smith, former guest here on RTD, and he gives shines a little light as to why there's so much problems in our country with not many people being able to get ahead. And it says, why are so few Americans able to get ahead? And so it goes through some interesting facts here in reference to how over time, due to monetary policy and fiscal policy, just the overall political scene and just the debt limits and whatnot really hinders people's opportunity to grow in this country. And so if you guys are interested, feel free to read for yourself. But yeah, it's pretty smooth and simple. And so he does a good job of giving you data and whatnot. But I just want to present that idea to you guys. So with that being the case, this is what's happening right now in the news. I wanted to take a minute to just shine some light on it and give you guys an idea of what's happening in the news. Wanted to lay it out quick and simple. So if you guys enjoy this presentation, feel free to give it a thumbs up, as well as most importantly, the articles are for you to read. So if you have interest, click the articles down below and definitely stay up to date on what's going on. Other than that, I wanted to get some news out to you this Friday. And more importantly, if you have not, I want you guys to take advantage of the opportunity of getting a chance to hold a single gram in your hand at dealer cost. So make sure you guys take advantage of the SD bullion deal that's going on this month. Information is down below if you're interested in doing it for yourself. Other than that, hope all is well for everybody. Be safe. I'll see you guys later. Enjoy your weekend.